What is your favorite thrift store? Are you still sewing? What is the best thing about marriage? And then what is the most challenging? I would say the best thing about marriage is... Hi you guys, and welcome to the laundry chat. My name is Molly. Today we're doing a little Q&A. I personally love a good chatty, cozy video like this. I love hearing people's thoughts, people's opinions, what they have to say, and their thoughts and feelings. So I thought, because we have a couple new subscribers, actually, like, let's just pause for a second. We hit 1,000 subscribers. You guys, I don't even know what to say. I have been wanting to hit 1,000 subscribers like forever, and I just thought it would be like a year away. So I'm so excited you're here. That being said, because there's some new faces around here, I kind of wanted to just have you guys get to know me a little bit better. I posted on Instagram. You can follow me there. I don't post a ton, but I do like Q&As and question boxes and share stuff there sometimes. And I posted a question box on YouTube on my community page. You guys did a great job asking questions. Some of these are just so fun and things that I'm really glad that I got a chance to sit down and think about. So I broke them up into a couple categories just so it's a little bit easier. All of the questions kind of fell into a couple themes. Grab something to drink, snuggle up with a blanket, and let's jump into these questions. First, we're gonna start with thrifting. That's honestly how probably most of you guys have found me, is thrifting. I'm so excited to make more thrifting content. I love thrifting so much. I don't know, it's just such a fun part of life. What is your favorite thrift store? And honestly, I have to say my favorite thrift store of all time is Thrift Town in Texas. Those thrift stores are massive and amazing. They have such a big vintage section, vintage section, and they just have a big section of everything. Like, every section is just massive. It's really well done. I feel like the prices are always really good and have really great sales. So if you're in the Texas area, if you're in Austin, that's where I used to live, yeah, I would highly recommend going to Thrift Town. If I'm just thinking locally, I feel like I just love all of the thrift stores around here equally. I do have some that I go to more often. I would say the Savers in Woodbury. If I'm really looking to go like thrifting, I want to go to across the border in Minnesota to the Woodbury. That Savers is huge. They have a ton of stuff. I feel like they're pretty well priced, but you can just find a lot of like good things that are like a better deal, I would say, like better brands, newer items and stuff like that. So okay, and the favorite things I've thrifted. This is kind of hard because I've thrifted so many things over the years and it's hard to pick a favorite. When I'm just thinking things recently that I've thrifted that I've loved, the Gap wide leg pants, I love those. I did get those altered, but those are such a great find. They're some of the pants that I wear so often, and I wasn't able to try them on at the thrift store. I'm really glad I took a gamble and got them because I love those pants. The other one is one that you guys saw me thrift, which was that brown Gap hoodie. That one I think is just so exciting because I passed on a couple other hoodies that were sort of similar but just weren't like quite right. And so I'm really glad that I waited until I found the right thing. And it was such a good deal and I wear it truly all the time. I feel so cute in it. I know that if I put it on, I can be cozy and feel like relaxed, but like look cute at the same time. In things that aren't clothes, the two paintings that I've gotten, they're not from a thrift store, but they are from like a vintage store. The Praying Man, I forget the name of the painting, but that painting I love. I'm so glad we thrifted it. And then I finally found a painting for our entryway. This was also at a vintage store down in Hudson. I don't know, they're just really great finds, and I love just finding stuff that you can add to your home that you look at and use all the time. Okay, the next topic is sewing. Are you still sewing? Yes and no. I did just sew another birthday banner for my niece Perry. It was her first birthday, so I sewed her own birthday banner. I realized I love sewing banners. I mean, I already kind of knew this, but I can go really fast and I really love it. But currently I don't really have anything that I'm sewing right now. I just don't have anything really in mind, but I do need to sew my brother for Holy Donuts. I made him little like order pickup signs, and one of the pickup ones or the order one like got lost or broken or something, so I need to resew that. The only thing is I didn't have a pattern for that, so I'm gonna have to like remember how I did it before. What would you like to sew next / the next project you want to start on? I did mention to my grandma that I really want to sew a flannel cozy winter quilt, kind of to have a throw, like a blanket blanket out here. I'm thinking like kind of like square pattern, like really cute. I need to kind of find some inspiration for that. So I think that'll be a winter project. I'd love to sew some baby clothes. I love making little baby things like baby hats, baby like bloomers, baby dresses, baby overalls. So I'd love to get back into sewing some baby things soon. I also would just, like I said, I love to sew banners. So I'd love to try some experimenting with different like patterns and different colors and different styles of banners. And I really would love to sell them if people were interested. I feel like it's definitely not something that anyone necessarily needs, but it's something that I love. I love having cute banners, especially for nurseries, for your house, for celebrations, birthdays, whatever. So I kind of want to experiment with that and possibly maybe sell them if people were interested. Okay, now we're getting into the relationship topics, which I love talking all things relationship. If you guys don't know, I have been married to my husband now for 3 years. He's from Texas and he moved up here to Wisconsin, so he's full-on Texas boy. The first question is, what is the best thing about marriage? And then what is the most challenging? I would say the best thing about marriage, I would say it's like having someone during your lowest low moments, and then you get to have someone at your highest high moments. Like you're never going through anything by yourself, and it makes the high moments really high and then the low moments I just feel like not quite as low. And another thing that's my favorite part about being married is just it feels like this long, never-ending, forever conversation that you get to have with someone. You just know them so well and they know you that you just get to keep talking. You just get to keep picking up the conversation. You don't need to like qualify things or like give examples or try to like describe things to have it make sense. Like they already know you, they already know what you talked about last week and how it fits into this. Like it's just like the best ongoing conversation ever. I'm like a words person, so I feel like I just feel really loved by having someone I can always talk to and who understands and who like knows what we're going through, because we're going through it together, and you just get to keep talking for your whole life. I would say the most challenging, and if you guys have been following me for a bit, you probably already know what I'm gonna say. Finances to me are the most challenging part of marriage. I hate dealing with money. We were trying to calculate how much debt we got out of, and it was like in the like tens of thousands of dollars of debt that we have gotten out of together, and that was just in our first year of marriage. I mean, we still have like been like doing that within like the other years. We definitely tackled a lot of it in our first year, which I think made our first year really rough, but it's just such an important part. Like as annoying as it is for someone like me, I don't really care about money, or I don't want to have to care about money, but you have to in order to like really be free and live your life and like not have so much stress and like a burden. We just also came from very different mentalities with money. AJ's a spender, I'm a really big saver, so to join that is just really, really tough, just because it goes down to the little things, the groceries you buy, the stuff you buy at the grocery store, like different brands, like stuff that's more expensive or not, or if you go out to eat, or like if you need the newest thing, or how often you get new shoes. Like it's in everything. And so I feel like AJ and I have definitely gotten better at this, but I still in marriage feel like that's the hardest thing for me. It's hard because you're always having to make decisions. There's pros and cons to either side. Yeah. Other than that though, I feel like marriage truly, like, and AJ and I again have been married for 3 years, so like take this with a grain of salt. Marriage has overall made life easier. It makes most parts of life easier or better. Even like the lowest moments, it makes it not as bad because you have someone to lean on and you have someone to help you point to the Lord or what matters. So I highly recommend getting married. That being said, you want to be really careful with who you choose, obviously, because those hard moments will come, obviously, and the financial tornado will come, and you just want to have someone that you can really trust and that isn't going to fall under pressure, or you know, that you can't feel like you can really be your raw self and like work things out together. But yeah, overall, honestly, marriage is great. Don't really have many complaints about marriage, honestly. It is a lot of work. Like I feel like AJ and I did a lot of work to get to where we are. Once you work out those kinks, which like everybody has, kind of have this like rhythm and routine that like is really comforting and like sweet, and it makes more like life the problem than your marriage. And I feel like that's kind of the goal, is like you want to be more annoyed at life than like your marriage, you know? I don't know. How important is it to be unified in your opinions in dating beyond just shared faith? And so I think what you mean is just like with other opinions kind of, and not just like faith, which obviously, I mean, I have to say it, but if you are a strong Christian and you love the Lord and you want to raise your kids that way, you want your family to be a faith-filled family, it obviously makes no sense to date someone who is not a Christian. Obviously, shared faith is number one. And I think if you have the shared faith, then your values are also the same in what you value in life and what you find important. So then I think any opinions then that you would have that would differ would just be like stupid stuff, you know? Like for me and AJ, like, you know, like traveling would be a big one. Like AJ really like loved traveling, and I thought I did, but really I'm not much of a traveler. Like my family has never really been that way, but AJ was raised that way. And so that could be a point of like conflict where it's like, oh, are we gonna be the family that like travels and goes on vacation all the time and that's how we use our money? Or would we rather like fix our house or invest it in something, you know, like if the person seems to be like, they're just like willing to meet in the middle with some of these things, I don't really see a problem with that. I think too, like you just need to know what kind of things would be annoying for you, or like a non-negotiable, like you just couldn't deal with. If you really don't like guns and hunting, but your boyfriend does, you don't want to take that away from him either, you know? If that really is going to bug you, that, you know, in the fall he's always going to be hunting, he's going to be wanting to buy guns and stuff like that and do that kind of thing, like maybe, you know, I don't think that like if everything else is in place and that's bugging you, I feel like only you can decide if you want to deal with that, or if you're willing to like go through with that, or if that's just like a non-negotiable. Yeah, for me with AJ, there were some things, I'm trying to think of examples, it's been so long, but there's definitely things that I was like, things would bug me about stuff that he did or that he liked or whatever, but it never like overrode those core things that were just locked in place that I was like, dang, like including these things, like I can put up with these things that I kind of don't like, and then, you know, like whatever. So for example, this is such a bad example, but AJ really loved F1, which is like the racing car thing. And I thought it was so stupid at first. I was like, this is so dumb. And he had went to some races and he had even bought tickets for us to go. And I was like, I don't really care. Like, this is so dumb. But I mean, obviously that's not a reason to break up with someone. I did end up liking it. Like now I watch F1 with him. And so you just don't know like some of those things that maybe you have. I don't know if this is really answering your question, but like, I just think dating is a hard time because you're really trying to like figure out if these two lives can go together. But I just would try to remember that your views are going to change on things, his views are going to change on things, especially once you guys do become married, if you do feel like all those values are in place. And so it's kind of fun because now you make your own family, you know, you get a mix of things that your family did and things that your family never did. I don't know, it's just fun. So hopefully that helps. Yeah, let me know if you guys have any other thoughts on this topic below. Thoughts a year later about the Woman at 27 series. How has your relationship with womanhood changed? Okay, I love this series. This was from 2 years ago now. I did a Woman at 27 series. I had been married a year at this point, so I was really new to being a wife, and I just feel like it was when I really started to step into my womanhood. I think getting married, I just felt more feminine than I ever had, or like I wanted to be more feminine than I ever had. So I tried to wear dresses, I tried to look for new dresses, and I kind of just tried to learn what it looked like to be a woman of God. And it was a great series. If you want to check it out, you can. I would love to continue it in a way, but I feel like it was really special for that time. And at the time, I really realized just how I guess like womanhood is different for each woman, and you can kind of make it what you want. You can be a woman who wears dresses, you can be a woman who bakes, you can be a woman who is really, you know, strong in her voice and, you know, shares her voice online. There are just so many ways to do it. That series was important just because I think I realized it's okay to be feminine. I think after being single for so long, like I was single I had one relationship for 2 years and it ended in the beginning of college, my freshman year. And after that, I was single for like 6-7 years after that. So after being single for that long, moving to a city where I knew nobody, I just think I couldn't be as feminine as I, you know, maybe could have been. Also, like I just have never been like a super feminine girl in general. Although like I don't know, like I feel like it's always been in there, but I think on the outside I just felt like I had to be really like, strong on the outside in a way, or not show those like feminine qualities as much. I don't know if that makes sense, but being married really helped that, and then going through that series really helped me realize that being a woman looks like, there's a certain way it looks, but it also looks different for every woman because every woman is different, and you don't need to feel like you need to be the same version of womanhood as another woman, you know? I really feel like now my relationship to womanhood has really changed after going through the miscarriage. We went through a miscarriage in April of 2024, so this April, and I just feel like it made me realize just how really deeply strong women are and how much we carry. Like, God allows us to carry this life, and you can do things that you never thought that you could. I ended up delivering our baby naturally. Our baby grew to 6 or 9 weeks. I kind of can't believe that we're entrusted with that, you know what I mean? And that we can carry something so tender, but also be so strong in like getting through it, and our bodies can do it. So I'm definitely in way more amazement about a woman being a woman, and even being pregnant, you know, like that was just such a journey of like, wow, like my body is changing and being used for this. Like, I did not realize like how special my body was in like such a different way. I feel like I also realized that I have strong opinions. I am a strong person. I do stand for something. Like, I have a sense of right and wrong as a woman, and I stand up for my family, my baby. Going through the miscarriage and being pregnant and everything definitely made me realize that, and I feel like I found my voice a little bit more. It's kind of my first time thinking of myself as like a mom and being like an advocate for my baby and our family. You know, it was the first time I ever had to make choices about ultrasounds, appointments, shots, you know, like the way I miscarried. Like, do you do the pills? Do you do a DNC? Do you do it naturally? Like, even just, you know, figuring out like if we're gonna, you know, how we're gonna bury our baby, or if we do that, or you know, just these things. It just felt like I was entrusted with that, and that just feels like such a different like realm of womanhood that I haven't had to experience yet. And yeah, I think I also realized that womanhood is about other women in your life, like how much you need the other women in your life. Like, you need women to surround you and listen to you and cook for you and help you clean and take you shopping. I just love women, and every woman has, oh my gosh, I'm so emotional. Every woman has their own gift, and it's so cool to see that. Get to then love on other women using your gifts. So I just think it's such a beautiful web that womanhood is, and I feel like it's really cool to be a part of it and get to learn more of like how God uniquely made me to be a part of that, I guess. Next section is writing. If you didn't know, I actually started out on social media really like doing a blog. I had an Instagram and I did a blog, and I wrote, and I had like a newsletter and stuff. So I love writing. I feel so sad that I have not been writing very much. It's just been, if I'm being honest, the worst year of my life. That being said, some of you guys asked about writing, which is really exciting. The first question is, how did you start writing? And honestly, I feel like I've always been writing ever since first grade. In our school, we had like a young authors section, and you got to write your own little book. And I think almost every year you did that in English, where you wrote your own book. And I loved it, and I just have loved reading from a young age. That I think because I read so many books and I loved reading, I just wanted to like do the same thing. Like, I wanted to be the author of the story. So yeah, I've been writing for a very long time. Do you have any writers you're inspired by? They haven't changed. I feel like my list of authors stays pretty the same. I haven't really like read anyone new recently, but I always say Donald Miller. I love Donald Miller. He's a great author. He writes a lot of like memoirs about his life, but his insights in life are so amazing. Liz Bell Young, she actually, I discovered her in the Magnolia Journal, like the magazine. I feel like it's so impactful, so descriptive, and she's just great. I also love John Steinbeck. Yeah, he's the one who wrote Of Mice and Men, East of Eden. I just feel like the way he describes things is so good and so rich. Like, I wish I could write like that. And then the next one I have to say is Robin Jones Gunn, which I'll explain why in the next question. The next question is favorite book. And like I said, East of Eden by John Steinbeck. That book is so good. I think I've read it maybe 3 times now, maybe only 2. Well, I almost read it like every other year. It's just such a good story, and there's so many relationships in it. There's so many like so much symbolism in it, and I love how you can kind of see God like in heaven woven through the story. So if you haven't read that book, it's thick, but it's really, really good. The next book that I always say is The Sacred Romance. This is by, or no, John Eldridge, I think. and then his friend, I forget his name, but it's a great book. It really changed my view of my relationship with God, and it kind of put to words like some of the feelings you feel having a relationship with God, and it just really explains like your life in relation to like a relationship with God. So it's really good. The next book is Bird by Bird. If you're a writer, this book is great. I think her name is Anne. It's basically a book on writing, but with writing and all these little stories. Really great, really encouraging. I should really read it again to just like get in the motivation to write again. And the next book, this one is the one by Robin Jones Gunn. It's the Christy Miller series. I read this in 6th grade, and honestly, I think I've read it like multiple times and all the way up until high school, even college maybe. It's just this like fiction romance about like this girl named Christy and this guy named Todd. Especially as a Christian girl, like there's not a lot of books that are for you that are like fiction romance books. And I think by reading that series, I really learned what a Christian relationship should look like, because it was so fun. But it wasn't boring, but it wasn't also like, I don't know, just such a good series. Honestly, like I don't know really the ages if it'd be too young to read now, but I'm kind of tempted to read it again, honestly. Okay, favorite quote. I used to be a big quote girl, and I would write them, you know, or have them on my like college dorm like board. And so, oh, I just drank my coffee. Okay, wait, hang on. I should actually have a sip of this before I spill it again. I used to be big into quotes. Ones that I like feel like through my life that I've really loved are these ones. This quote is actually, I think, from Issa Eden. Now that you don't have to be perfect, you can be good. I love that. I feel like, especially as a firstborn child, perfectionist, it's so freeing to realize that I don't need to be perfect. I can just be good, and that's good enough. The next one is by C.S. Lewis, and it's so simple, but I love this quote. It just says, "Courage, dear heart." I just feel like the word courage has always been one of those words that I just love. I actually have it tattooed on the side of my arm because of the verse in Joshua where it says like strength, courage. It talks about how like, you know, do not be afraid, do not be, you know, discouraged, like I'm with you. I don't know, I just feel like it's simple, and I always get like encouraged when I hear that quote. The next one is by Donald Miller, and this one I remember really loving in college when I was starting out doing my blog and doing YouTube and stuff, and it says, "Fear tricks us into living a boring life." I also am a pretty like fearful, insecure, kind of like second-guessing person. I'm really like doubtful of myself, and I've related to a lot of what Donald talks about because he also is kind of that way. I don't want to live a boring life, and if fear is what's keeping me living a boring life, then I don't think that that's worth it. It's just not worth it. So this next question says, "Newsletter fan, what have you seen and liked recently?" Like I said, I used to do a newsletter which was called like the Laundry Chat, and I would do it every week. And part of the reason why I stopped it was mainly because I used a new email platform, and it was free for that first year, and then they charged me like $500 and I just could not pay that. So that was sad. So that kind of made me stop it, but I was really consistent with it, and I really love forcing myself to sit down and write for, you know, a couple hours, just like get all of my thoughts out for the week. So yeah, I really would love to start it again. If you guys would read it, let me know. I can try and figure out how to do it. I had a part on there that was the things that I've seen and liked, and I love that section too. That was so fun. Some of the things that I've seen and liked recently. The first one is by John and Alex. I don't know if you follow them on like Instagram or TikTok, but there are a couple that do comedy skits, but they recently went through, I don't even want to call it a miscarriage, because she lost her baby, her boy, at 26 weeks, which is crazy. But they made this kind of short film called Shower, and I'll insert the trailer here and I'll link it below. It just, even in this short clip, I feel like it really encapsulates how I have felt during this time, just like in this time of life that I'm at. Everyone's pregnant. All of my, literally almost every single friend of mine is pregnant or has been pregnant or has a baby. And so it can just feel really hard, like going through what you're going through, but also having to celebrate your friends who you are genuinely happy for, but they're literally like effortlessly going through the thing that you didn't get to go through. So I really love that. All of their content, honestly, I see and like. It's so good, it's so relatable. Even their stuff on grief recently, I feel like AJ and I have just laughed like watching it, because we're just like, yep, we know what that's like. Other thing I've seen and liked is our 3-year anniversary gift that we got for each other. My mom actually sent it to us in an Instagram DM. She sent it to me and was like, "This is so cute." And I was like, "Mom, that's our wedding verse." Like, that is so crazy. I love it. Again, it takes me a while to buy home decor, especially anything that goes on the walls, because I don't want to get sick of looking at it, but this I don't get sick of looking at. I love it. They have a lot of other great things, and yeah, it has our wedding verse on it, which I feel like especially during this past year has been something that I love. I feel like has become more true than ever, and I just love seeing it. The other thing that I've seen and liked are just all the leaves in the trees. This fall has been kind of a delayed fall. I feel like the leaves had their peak really, really late, and so right about now, everything's just so bright and beautiful, and it's just been the sunniest October, like around here. Like there's been hardly any gloomy days, and so every day is just so beautiful and bright and colorful, and I've just been loving that. We're getting into the other section. Speaking of the seasons, someone asked, what's your favorite season in Wisconsin? Honestly, since living in Texas for 4 years, I really get excited for winters and fall. Like, you just don't get that in Texas. So winters and falls bring me back to my childhood and growing up and just like my life in Wisconsin, being a Wisconsin girl. But I will have to say, I think I'm gonna have to say summer is my favorite season in Wisconsin. I think there's something about summer that just is so bright and beautiful and hopeful. There's something like in the energy in a Wisconsin Midwest summer that feels like anything can happen. Everything is amazing. Like you just made it through winter. You just get this short bit of summer and it just feels like a little slice of heaven, honestly. Okay, what's the last movie you cried to? I actually know this, and I'm not a big movie person. AJ and I don't watch a lot of movies, but the last movie we watched was The Hobbit. Not to bring up the miscarriage again, but we did watch it during our miscarriage. I finally convinced AJ to watch it with me because he's not a big like Lord of the Rings person, but we watched The Hobbit, all 3 of them, and I was crying during The Hobbit. I can't remember exactly all of the things that reminded me of, I don't know, just like heaven or like the things we were going through, just all the trials, and seeing The Hobbit and kind of seeing it in this like mythical world just made it feel like our story had purpose and that we could move on through hard things. I was just sobbing. So what did your dream life look like as a child? Okay, I had to kind of think back to this one because it's been a while since I thought about what I wanted to do as a kid, but the first thing that I know that I wanted to do was I've always wanted to be an author. I always thought I would be writing books and just writing in some capacity. I definitely thought I would be like having a little beach house on either the ocean or Lake Michigan. I love Lake Michigan, and I would just be writing up there. Or I'd have some land and some horses and I'd be like writing in a cabin. Or I'd also have like this like apartment in the city and I'd just be watching everyone down below and I'd be writing up there. I just feel like I had very like that kind of picturesque, that like author type vision for my life, you know? Yeah, I feel like it was pretty simple as a kid. I don't really think I had like a ton of big, you know, I don't think I really knew what I was gonna do. Like I never really as a kid, I feel like had like a big ambition for like some massive career. I just wanted to do what I loved, and for so long in my life it was writing, and I just had always wanted to be an author. So if you could learn something new, what would it be? Slash someone else asked, is there a hobby you would like to take up that you haven't yet? To be honest, I feel like I have so many hobbies, like so many random ones that I like don't have time for, like YouTube, sewing, I do pictures. I don't know, I just feel like there's so many things that I wish I had more time for. One that I did think of was scrapbooking. I did scrapbook during our miscarriage. I did our wedding album finally. And I really loved it, but I do think I would like to get more into it and just, I don't know, saving things for a scrapbook and getting more in the habit of doing that. And especially thinking of, you know, having kids, like doing that for them and having our life kind of like pieced together in a little book with pictures, I think would just be so cool. I love to do that. I also would love to get into like growing flowers. I'm not a vegetable garden person. I don't want a vegetable garden, but I do want a garden where I have a ton of different flowers that can just make beautiful bouquets. I love my zinnias, and I'll always be planting zinnias, but I'd love to have some other flowers to go with it. So maybe next summer I might try and do that. I don't know if I could get some raised beds or something and I don't know, start a little flower garden for bouquets, but flowers just make me happy instead of like, you know, looking at a carrot growing or tomatoes growing. Like that doesn't make me as excited as seeing flowers growing. So I would love to have some time to do that next summer. I really hope that this wasn't too long or too boring, especially since some of you guys like really don't know who I am. Like I said, I love these type of videos, so I hope if you loved it, you stayed to the end and listened, even if it's like a podcast style. I love having YouTube videos on in the background. And yeah, like I said, I'm just like so excited that you guys are all a part of the laundry chat now. So let me know, as always, if you have any video recommendations, anything you want to chat about. I'd love to chat about it on here. Yeah, I just love hearing from you guys. Your comments are my favorite. So I think that's it for this week's laundry chat. I cannot wait to talk to you guys next week in the next laundry chat. Bye, you guys.